If you guys want the Bengals to beat the Jets this weekend, get down there and like today's video. Don't be the one person who doesn't like the video, and then the Bengals ended up dropping one to the 0-7 Jets. So get down there and like today's show if you guys want the Bengals to beat the Jets this weekend. What's going on, Bengals fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys here again on Bengals Breakdown. We are talking about this Week 8 matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets. The Bengals are favorites in this one, 6.5-point favorites. It seems like it's been forever since the Bengals have actually been favorites in a ball game, but the Jets, yeah, let's be honest, they are an absolute dumpster fire so far this season. It is actually kind of funny. This is actually the number 26 offense in the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the number 26 defense in the National Football League. The Bengals defense is one of the worst right now in terms of their scoring defense, but the Jets also aren't very good at scoring points either, so we'll see there might be a quarterback change this week for the Jets that we will get into here in just a little bit. But I do want to make note as well. The Bengals offense actually has been better over the past 2 weeks since you went out and got Joe Flacco in that trade. The first 5 games, obviously Joe Burrow was there for that Browns game, but midway through the Jaguars game, he ended up getting hurt, and then Jake Browning goes in there. So we're just going to throw it all together here. The first 5 games, the Bengals were scoring 17 points per game, and that number was even a little bit inflated. Because of that Jags game, they even scored 31 in that one, and then late in that Lions game, they scored a couple of touchdowns in garbage time there. So it is a little bit inflated there. The Bengals offense was absolutely awful in that stretch with Jake Browning at quarterback. But over the last 2 games, with Joe Flacco there, the Bengals are scoring 25.5 points per game. I think that could be a big-time deal against the Jets this weekend, who just haven't been good at all so far this year. They started off the season here 0-7, losses to the Steelers, the Bills, the Buccaneers, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Panthers. Guys, they are even losing to the bad teams in the National Football League. Now, I will say their defense is playing a little bit better over the past 2 weeks here, only giving up 13 points to the Broncos and only 13 points to the Carolina Panthers as well. Now, granted, the Panthers' offense is not very good, and Bryce Young even got knocked out in that game, as well there. But this is a poverty team, but let's be honest with ourselves too. Teams that don't have a win, they're going to be scratching and they're going to be clawing in this one. So, it's any given Sunday in the NFL, so you definitely do not want to let this Jets team, make you their first win of the season. So do the Bengals get back to 500 this week? You're currently right now 3-4. You have an opportunity to get back to even here. Let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes or N for no down at the pinned comment of today's video. All right, so some injuries to monitor in this game this weekend. Really just go over some, really notable ones here. Sauce Gardner, as of right now, he is in concussion protocol. So, he is one of the better corners in the National Football League. We'll see if he ends up going in this game. Tufele has a knee sprain. Aaron Glenn said they expect him to probably be good to go for this game as well. Breece Hall, their starting running back, got banged up last week, and, you could probably expect him to be back there. And then Aaron Glenn also mentioned Garrett Wilson as well, saying, they're going to need a couple more days, really, of practice here to really see how well he's going to, fare in this matchup this weekend. And I even thought about putting Justin Fields on this list as well and just putting his pride on the injury report here, because he just has not been good at all this year. Really, the biggest factor with Justin Fields right now, and we'll talk about it more here in just a little bit, but the Jets offensive line is absolute garbage. Justin Fields has gotten sacked 22 times so far this year. When it comes to throwing the ball, though, he's just extremely hesitant. I mean, he kind of looks like Jake Browning out there in terms of, wide receivers being open, and he's just not cutting it loose. Now, he has done some good things, running the football here. He does have 2 fumbles on the season, but, outside of that, he was also taking care of the football a little bit. But this Jets offense has just been, really, really bad to start the season here with Justin Fields at quarterback. And we did get a bit of an update on the quarterback situation here for the Jets this weekend. Woody Johnson said that the quarterback decision is, quote, completely up to Aaron Glenn. Hasn't announced that yet, but it seems like they are going to be going towards Tyrod Taylor to start this game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Tyrod Taylor has been in the National Football League for a very, very long time. I think 2011 was when he got into the league here, and he does have one start this season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He made the start there, and he was actually not that bad. He wasn't great by any means, but the completion percentage was pretty solid there. Did have the 2 touchdowns and the 1 interception as well, but he did also get sacked 4 times in that game against the Carolina Panthers. He came in the second half of that game, so 22 passing attempts and only 1 half of play. I'm sure the Jets are going to try to throw the hell out of the football in this game, because going up against this Bengals defense, what's the best way to go up against them is to throw the ball against them. So that's what I think the Jets are probably going to do in this game. In 7 games, though, the Jets have allowed 31 sacks. You can see right there, Tyrod Taylor in a game and a half was also sacked 7 times as well. So, we'll talk about the keys to victory here in just a little bit, but that's definitely going to be a factor in this one. Breece Hall, we talked about him, kind of got banged up a little bit last week, but he's been, relatively solid throughout the season so far this year. 99 carries, almost 450 yards there. Pretty solid average for him, but, hasn't really broken through in terms of getting those touchdowns for the Jets there. And I do want to mention this as well when it comes to Breece Hall and some other guys on this Bengals team right now. Jordan Schultz put this out just a little while ago talking about some possible trade rumors for the Jets. So, we might be able to see one go down before this Bengals game this weekend. Jordan Schultz saying teams are keeping an eye on the Jets ahead of the NFL trade deadline. Names being mentioned include Breece Hall, Quincy Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Michael Carter, and Alan Lazard, among others per sources. And, kind of why the Jets, might be, trading some of these key pieces here. One source tells Jordan Schultz there's an element of trying to figure out who are Aaron Glenn's guys and who are not. Remember, when Detroit suddenly traded Hawkinson, a building block from the last regime is not going to be a guaranteed building block on this one either. So, we'll see. I don't know. It's already Tuesday now. I don't necessarily know if they would make a trade, after Tuesday. You would expect it to probably be a little bit earlier in the week there. But, if a trade does go down with the Jets and it's one of those key guys, we'll definitely keep you guys up to date on that. All right, we'll come back with some keys to victory here in just a second. But today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want more than on Josh Allen passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. Professional basketball is set to kick off here tonight, and we have a 2-player power play for you guys here. Going with Kevin Durant, more than points for him at 25.5, and Steph Curry, that is the max discount. So anytime you guys see that, the original stat projection there was 24.5, only needs a half point tonight for Steph Curry. So make sure you guys get those into your PrizePicks lineups today. I use PrizePicks for so many different types of sporting events, whether it's professional football, baseball, basketball, college sports, MMA, and so much more. PrizePicks is a ton of fun, and if you guys know ball, you can win real money all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2-player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in today. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link's down in the comment section and the description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, let's get into some keys to victory here. Number 1 is going to be generate some pass rush on this Jets offensive line. You're going to have Trey Hendrickson back, or should have him back anyways, for this game. They said he was really close last week, but because it was a short week, Thursday night football, they just needed a couple more days there for Trey Hendrickson to get back from that back/hip injury that he suffered just last week. Shamar Stewart also gets another week to, have a couple more practices under his belt there and get a little bit more healthy. The Jets' offensive line has been absolutely putrid so far this season. I'll slide over just a little bit so you guys can see the whole graphic there. Olu Fashanu at left tackle has allowed 3 sacks, 22 pressures this year. Left guard John Simpson, 3 sacks, 16 pressures this year. John Myers, 1 sack, 15 pressures. Joe Tippmann, their right guard, has been really, really bad, allowing 5 sacks, 18 pressures, and Armand Membu, 3 sacks, 20 pressures there. I know we love to give the Bengals offensive line, a lot of crap because, they haven't really been that great so far this year, but they're a whole lot better than what the Jets offensive line has been, especially in pass protection so far this year. So hopefully the Bengals can generate some pass rush in this game, and whoever ends up being quarterback for the Jets, whether it's Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields, hopefully they can get him on the ground and really affect that passing game. So predict the score, 2 Bengals versus Jets. How you guys think this one's going to go? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section of today's video. All right, key to victory number 2. Can you create some more mismatches against this Jets defense here? Last week against the Steelers, man, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they were really, really good. And shout out Joe Flacco for being able to get them the football and just being able to find them and get the football to them. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Jamar Chase had a NFL season high of 23 targets in that game versus the Steelers, 161 yards. I could see him doing the exact same thing this weekend as well. T. Higgins also trying to get him the ball a little bit more. He had a season high as well. 10 targets for him. Almost had 100 yards in that game. Both of those guys finding the end zone there. Jets linebacker Jamian Sherwood has given up 25 receptions on 29 targets so far this year. There's just been times where he just looks lost out there in pass coverage. Maybe you could also utilize guys like Noah Fant in the slot. They really do use Jamar Chase in the slot a lot as well. I think he's number 2 in terms of snaps for Bengals wide receivers in the slot there. I think Andre Yoshivas was actually number 1 in terms of snaps in the slot there. So if you can get him matched up, whether that is Jamar Chase or Noah Fant or Andre Yoshivas with one of those linebackers, it could definitely be night-night for this Jets defense. They would not have a very good day if they could utilize some of these mismatches, especially with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. All right, key to victory number 3 here. Can you have another solid game running the football? The Jets so far this year have been allowing 129 yards per game. That is 23rd in the NFL. Chase Brown this past week against the Steelers was really the first game where he was able to actually go off. We really haven't seen that so far this year from Chase Brown. He was averaging almost 10 yards per carry. I mean, that's awesome. He had 2 runs in that game of over 20 yards. He didn't have a run of over 20 yards so far this season. So if you can, take advantage of, this Jets defense and this offensive line can be able to step up and just play a little bit better and be just a little bit more consistent, it could help Chase Brown out a whole lot. And hopefully, with the addition of Joe Flacco actually being able to push the ball downfield as well, I think that also helps Chase Brown a lot. I think it helped him a lot in that game versus the Steelers there. The Jets this year, I think there's a lot of correlation with how close some of these games have been to the amount of rush yards that they've given up in some of these games here. The Steelers, they only allowed 53 yards of offense against the Steelers. That game was only a 2-point game there. The Bills rushed for 224 total yards. That was a 20-point game in that one. Against the Bucs, that one's kind of the outlier there. They allowed 122 yards. That was also a 2-point game in that one. Against the Dolphins, that was a 7-point game. If you can, actually be able to run the ball in this game, I think the Bengals should roll in this one. There is no reason why this 0-7 Jets team should beat the Bengals this weekend. So I'm going to say the Bengals get back to 500. They go to 4-0, and they just inch closer in that AFC North battle there. I'm going to say the Bengals win this one 31, Jets 17.